What is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I got something completely out of proportion, so stay tuned for it. I hope you guys enjoy, get entertained, stay for the actual gameplay. I do have some Apex win for you guys in the background. I do have a secondary game which I think we get a second, third place. It was just a crazy game overall, so really hope you guys enjoy. Now for today's talk, we're going to be talking about Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting for 2020. Now why does this matter to you? Because I'm talking ultimately to you regular folks out there that may not know about finance as much as the rest of us, which I don't claim to be a financial guru in any sort of way, but I do pretty much enjoy the whole overall financial aspect. Now this matters to you in particular because Warren Buffett has been one of the greatest investors in the US for almost a century at this point. And ultimately a lot of decisions that he makes, presidents go to him and ask him for advice. Companies, humongous companies, go to him and ask him for loans or even advice. And usually people that don't listen to them fail or end up actually going bankrupt. So this is why his talk overall is absolutely a must hear and ultimately must need it. So I'm really gonna kind of resume or kind of provide you guys an overall of about 4 or 5 hours of his interview that he had on Yahoo Finance, which you guys can actually find here on YouTube by just kind of googling it real quick, and then you can actually find that. But I'm going to try and resume this as best as I can. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible for you all with some Apex gameplay. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about is ultimately going to be talking about the airline companies. Now, why does the airline companies matter to you? Airline companies right now are borderline about to go bankrupt. As you guys may know, the US in general has not been going anywhere. A lot of the states right now are in complete lockdown. Nobody's allowed to go outside. If they go outside, is ultimately just going to pretty much go shopping and banking and just essential stuff. Nothing major, and ultimately no overseas travel in general. So airline companies are pretty much becoming obsolete for most sense. So one of the biggest things that Warren was ultimately talking in his interview with the Yahoo Finance was the fact that Berkshire Hathaway pretty much sold every single one of their stock in the airline companies that they had, pretty much lost. And that is something that that doesn't happen every day, because they usually, whenever they sell something, they make money. Very rarely do they ever sell something if they're gonna lose money. So to me, that means that ultimately all the airline companies are in trouble. And this is something that's really been known. A lot of the airline companies, pretty much like Boeing and stuff like that, have been waiting for the government bailout, and have been waiting for the government in general to kind of provide that additional financial stable income for them, in order for them to kind of be able to recover from this, because the government was ultimately who shut down the entire US and pretty much put those companies at risk. So this is why I believe probably Warren in general just kind of backed out of it. He didn't want to get caught up in the middle between the private companies and the government. In case for whatever reason the government did not want to in any sort of way bail them out, those companies are probably going to have to file for bankruptcy, and this can be, you know, a humongous risk to Warren's overall income when it comes to that. So it's a smart move when it comes to him overall, but that also means that's absolutely bad for the airline companies and potentially bad for me and you, because that either means that the lines in general for the bigger airlines, like you have Deltas, you have all those other big companies, may actually, the lines are just going to be humongous. So you may have to wait longer for flights, some flights may be canceled and whatnot. So this is really where the key thing comes into play. So for those of you currently that have money in airline companies, you know, I'm not saying sell your stocks, I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying that you need to be careful, pay attention to what you do, and ultimately you take your own risk at that point. The secondary thing I want to talk about is ultimately the fact that Warren says that you guys should be buying stocks. Now, obviously he doesn't specify what stocks to buy. He just says buy stocks. Don't be afraid to invest in the markets. because like everything else in the world, it recovers. There's always going to be some up and down. It's just part of life in general. So this is key because I'm somebody that does invest actively in the stock market. I currently have money invested in the oil companies. Now, I will not specify any of this because I'm not selling any sort of actual stocks or new stuff. What I would say is I do invest in oil companies and those things like that. But I'm not planning in any sort of way to sell anytime soon. So this is one of the key aspects as well, because Warren talks about if you're buying stocks, you have to be willing to lose 50 to 80% of whatever the value they have, because he remembers the time which Berkshire Hathaway was pretty much losing 50% or so on their share, and he pretty much just never sold, and their company at this point is just over $200,000 in overall value per share, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. So if you guys are planning to invest in the stock market, put your money in there, but don't plan to remove it anytime soon. Just kind of hold it, unless of course you make some profit and you decide to kind of withdraw that money. That's perfectly fine. But if you're in the losing side, think potentially about keeping it there as long as you can. Obviously, if the company is filing for bankruptcy, you want to pull your money out of there as soon as you can as well. So you got to keep all that stuff in mind, which is you guys have to make your own research when it comes to those things. Now, one of the key things too that I absolutely love that he talked about was the fact that no one knows the future, guys. Not even the government, not even the media, and just this overall thing about this whole COVID-19. Everybody kind of going crazy about whether the market can potentially crash and whatnot. So this has been this humongous talk lately about the fact that what's going on right now with the market being down, or pretty much the March crash, which was about I think 36% overall for the market, was just the first wave. Now they're talking about the second half of the market potentially going down another half, pretty much 30%, if not 50%, because in April the market I think recovered a total of 22 to 24%, which is absolutely amazing. That's been a super volatile market in general. Now the actual issue right now is the oil companies and the overall oil. Right now, as you guys may not know, but if you do know, crude oils and all those things have a humongous issue. The fact is that they're pumping too much oil out of the ground and they don't have enough places to store the oil. That's why the oil companies kind of shares pretty much went in the negative, was because they actually had to pay companies in order for those companies to hold those oil for them, which is it's absolutely insane. Does not mean that they're gonna pay us, pretty much me or you, to pretty much put oil in our car. No, that's not what it means. It simply means that the actual crude oil that they pull from the ground, they had nowhere to put it because their warehouses were absolutely full. So this is why a lot of people think that the second wave of the market crash potentially is going to come from the fact that there is no places to put the oil, and there's too much oil and not enough demand and whatnot. And then there's a humongous aspect of the unemployment in the U.S., which right now I believe we are at 30-something million people in the U.S. that are currently unemployed or filed for unemployment. So with those millions of individuals not having work, and with the fact that we have too much oil but not enough demand, means that there's going to be a lot of issue, because Saudi Arabia right now has pretty much a humongous pile of oil that they're just selling for a lot cheaper than the US. If you guys don't know, the US can sell crude oil, but the average crude oil that the US sells is roughly about $20 or so. Because if they sell below that, they're actually going to be losing money due to the fact that they have to pump that out of the ground, and all those things cost money. Saudi Arabia can actually sell for a lot less than $20. I think theirs can all go all the way up down to like 10 or even $5 to $10. I didn't really do that much research when it comes to that stuff, but I'm almost like 100% sure it's actually $10 that they can go, and that's what they're actually selling the crude oil at. And that's why one of the key aspects of why the overall world market in the oil companies are actually down low. So I kind of shifted out of the whole Berkshire Hathaway talk here, but let's going back into it. One of the third and pretty much final point here, or the fourth and final point here, is ultimately that Warren pretty much said that he was not going to bail any of his companies. Now, Berkshire Hathaway has hundreds of companies underneath them. It can be anywhere between pretty much, you have just so many sub companies and just companies in general underneath their actual name overall, that they say that a lot of them are already not doing well. So they're already planning to cut a lot of jobs and ultimately cut a lot of those companies out because they're just not making profit with those guys. And pretty much the biggest thing that I got out of it was that he's not going to bail out anybody. He already has sent a little bit of money to companies that were making money before the COVID-19, that were profited for quite a bit of years. But a lot of other companies, he's just kind of cut him off, and potentially just like the airline companies, he's just gonna pull his money out like everything else. So that's just one of the key points here. If he's doing that, you guys have to keep in mind there's a lot of people going bankrupt right now. A lot of companies are potentially gonna file for bankruptcy. So you guys, this is why there's a big talk between a lot of media and all those things, kind of implementing fear in people's life, kind of talking about a second potential crash. But I really don't want you guys to focus so much on a secondary crash. I really want you guys to focus just on yourself. If you guys do want to invest in the market and you guys want to continue investing in the stock market, I do have my affiliate link down below for Acorn app. That's something I use specifically for my savings on the side. And if you guys want to use it, you guys can. You guys can actually just put money into it. And if you guys do use my account down below, you get $5 for free, and I get $5 for free. So it's a win-win on both sides. Now, guys, I only promote things that bring you value. So if it brings me $5, it has to bring you that $5, and that's really that's the reason why I'm promoting it. I do have other affiliate links down below. Those are my computer setup. You guys don't have to click on those if you don't want to. But if you do want to have as good of a graphics as I do in my gameplay, feel free to click on those links. Check out what my computer setup is like, and I really hope you guys pretty much buy or go with whatever you guys decide to do. Now, going back to just the overall financial talk, you guys should be just doing your research. Don't be afraid to invest in things. If you guys see value in those things, invest in them. But one of the key things I really should have mentioned a little bit earlier, but I really want to touch on, is the fact that you guys should be paying your loans and any sort of negative debt you have first. Because if for whatever reason inflation comes into play in this whole crisis and whatnot, your loans and all those things, the overall interest rate is going to go high, and it's going to go higher and higher and higher. So my key concept here is pay off all your loans before you invest in anything. If you guys have anything above a 10% interest rate, you guys should be focusing on paying that, because even if the market is down 30%, you gotta keep in mind that you still have to pay taxes on those short-term holding. So let's say you hold a stock and it goes up, 30 or 40%. Yes, you made that 40% or 30%, but you gotta possibly pay the 20 or 25 or even higher, depending on whatever your state tax is for short-term holding on a stock. So overall, you may have earned 5%. So in reality, you actually lost money. So pay off your loans first. Pay off any high interest rate credit cards or anything that you have pending. Now, if you do have money, hit down below, go down in the comment section, write down whatever you guys are doing that's right, or just go down my link below where my affiliate link is for Acorn, and start investing in Acorn. Start investing in different applications that ultimately can bring you some sort of additional income. Now, for Acorn and other applications like that, you do not have to pretty much control whatever your money goes to. You ultimately just let the actual company themselves, Acorn company, take care of where they're going to be putting your money at. Most of the money that you actually going to be using, or the funds that they're going to be using, is going to be Vanguard, ETFs, and real estate and all those things. You guys can do more in-depth research on the actual application. Now, you guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I really hope to see you guys next time.